Series 2 on spiritual gifts. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 1. I'm using the KJV Bible. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Last week we started the series titled Spiritual Gifts. We discussed and examined the first part of Apostle Paul's thought concerning his correction of certain wrong perception within the church at Corinth regarding spiritual gifts. As we said, the key idea is that we have only one spirit with many activities, not different spirits with individual activities. By activities, I mean manifestations. Today we look at the second aspect, which is not much different from the first. As seen in verse 2, 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 2, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Paul reminds us that these believers once lived among idols, and their knowledge and practices were shaped by their former life. However, pay close attention to what Apostle Paul says about the idols. He calls them dumb idols. Paul could have simply said idols, but he deliberately qualified them as dumb. What does the Greek word for dumb mean? Yeah, it means voiceless, without any sign of signification. Paul's use of the word dumb to describe these idols signifies that they are voiceless. They do not respond. They lack activity, and the members of the Corinthian church would have been familiar with this fact. Let us look further at the concept of dumb idols. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 18 to 19. Verse 18. What profiteth the graven image, that the maker thereof hath graven it, the molten image and the teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusteth where therein, to make dumb idols. Verse 19. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. The prophet Habakkuk wrote that the maker of an idol would say to it, arise, and tell it to teach. But it is a dumb idol. That means it would not respond. It is inactive, unable to express itself, and cannot make its activities known through speech or teaching. This is exactly what Apostle Paul implied that he referred to the idols of Corinth as dumb. They are inactive and incapable of manifesting anything. Now let us look at the next verse in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 for further understanding. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 3. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Ghost. Paul is giving the Corinthian church an understanding they may have lacked or overlooked. No one speaking by the Spirit of God would call Jesus accursed, and no one can declare that Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Ghost. Now see the key thought here. No man speaking by the Holy Ghost. The man is speaking, but it is the Holy Ghost expressing himself through the man's mouth. And again, no man can say except by the Holy Ghost. Don't forget, the dumb idols is voiceless and inactive, but we serve a God who speaks through the mouth of a man. Paul is making it clear that God is not inactive among these people. Unlike the dumb idols, rather God is present and make his presence, his activity known by expressing himself through a believer. This gives us a deeper understanding. Apostle Paul was addressing the gathering of the Corinthian church, and he pointed out that we have one God with different manifestations, who make his activities known in their midst through people, the believers. I know there are gods, idols, that are believed to have different and specific activities, but are actually dumb and inactive in the midst of the people. These two key ideas from the Corinthians' former idol worship are what Paul sought to correct before diving deeper into the manifestation of the spiritual gifts. Therefore, he corrected their misunderstanding of idols worship by explaining: number one, we have one God with many manifestations. Number two, we have a God who makes his manifestation known among his people by working through believers. In the next part of this series, we will delve deeper into how God manifests himself through the believers and his divine purpose in it all.